Okay, hey, let's make some chicken tenders. Or you can use these chicken tenders just like they are, or you can make chicken parmesan out of them. So I'm going to give you the basic 1, 2, 3 of how to make them. The first thing we're going to make is the breadcrumb topping. So for that, I had my garlic and I popped off 2 cloves. One of these things is called a clove. And I don't know if you've seen this before, but if you lay your knife on top and give it a whack, you can peel it a lot easier that way. So, and I do recommend fresh garlic. I know it comes like minced in a jar, but, well, fresh is always best. Let's just say. You can cheat that way if you need to. Sometimes I do. All right, so peeling my garlic. Getting them like so. Just mincing them up best I can. Little bitty guys. Okay, and then I want to set that aside. And the other ingredients, remember, like I say, fresh is always best, but sometimes you just don't have it in the house and you just want to run out to the store, and I don't blame you, especially not right now. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside and wash off my hands. By the way, I washed my hands for 20 seconds before we started. I hope you did too. All right, so then the other thing I'm going to prep is rosemary. So I happen to have this because I love fresh rosemary, and I haven't got my garden started yet for the season, so I don't have any out there. So to get fresh rosemary, I'm just taking like a sprig of it, and you pop off all the little leaves. And again, if you don't have fresh, I did have, oh, where is it here? You know, like a jar of it. That works. So the estimates for this and the amounts of this, you're going to see I'm not really specific on how much of this you need of everything. And as in cooking, you'll notice that you just kind of get a feel and an eyeball for it after a while. So feel free to experiment. The fresh is definitely a lot stronger tasting than the dried. So what would you say? Maybe this is about a teaspoon of fresh, so you might need just a little bit more of the dried if you were using it. And oh, it just smells so good. All right, so rosemary. Get that out of the way. The other thing I'm going to need is breadcrumbs. And I'm going to need a cup of those. And I like the Italian style because it already has some cheese and seasoning in it. Another way to cheat. All right, so as I'm putting this together, I'm actually going to put it on a plate. So my breadcrumbs, my rosemary, my garlic, get that all on there. The other thing I'm going to put is a half a cup of, it's called for Parmesan or often Parmesan, but I'm going to tell you that I like Parmesan Reggiano. I get this big old thing from Costco. And I know, me and Avery go through this whole thing. I know, I'm a freak for that. Anyway, so put that on there. Let me just grab a little spoon here just to kind of mix it up as we go along. So breadcrumbs, rosemary, garlic, Parmesan cheese. I'm going to add a dash red pepper, crushed red pepper. Now remember, don't use a lot of this because that's hot. And then I'm going to use a little thyme. We all need a little thyme. Again, how much should I use? Teaspoon. Sounds good, right? Because my breadcrumbs are already seasoned also, and this cheese has got a lot of flavor. So it really just matters what you have. If you already have seasoned breadcrumbs, then you don't need all this extra seasoning. Let me see, what else? So breadcrumbs, thyme, rosemary, garlic, Parmesan cheese, red pepper flakes, and parsley. All right, we're going to set that tray aside. Then, because what I'm doing is I'm actually making 3 trays. So that's all my prep as far as my chopping goes. So I just want to clean up my area a little bit right here for you. My sink's right next door, so I just kind of throw it all in there. All right, so then I'm going to set up my stations, my dip stations. And how we dip this is like this. My first dip is going to be egg that I've put, and you guys know my trick of this, scrambled egg trick. So I cracked an egg, I added some water, about a tablespoon of water, and I whisked it with a fork. That's just a quick, easy way to get an egg ready. Then I'm going to pour it on a plate. Carefully. All right. So going in my sink so I can wash that in a little bit. So it's going to go chicken. It's going to go, my chicken is like this. So this is a package of chicken tenders. They're already cut. As you can see, they're small. So I already have them cut. Again, you can buy chicken breast and cut it or some other type of chicken. Okay, so I should have 3 plates set up. Flour, and then my scrambled egg and water, and then my breadcrumb mixture that we made, and then an empty plate on the end. So I have 4 plates set up. So I'm going to try to take you through my process. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a piece of chicken. So I have a piece of chicken. It's going to go in the flour. Okay, move that out of the way. Then it's going to go in my egg. And I'm just doing this for the camera's sake, but obviously you would just slide them and keep going with them. Okay. And then I'm going in my breadcrumb mixture. And then I place it on my plate, because then after I do all of these, then I'm going to fry them. So let me do it one more time. So flour first. So bloop bloop in my flour. Get it in there good now. And then here comes the egg. Drop it in the egg. Yeah, it's a little messy, but you can handle it. And get them floured. It's a great 3-person job. Then everybody can take a job. And then it goes on my plate. Just like that. Next step, we're going to fry it. All right, so what I did was I put my frying pan on, and I put a puddle of oil in there. It's probably about a 1/4 inch depth of oil. And then I just stuck some cheese from my chicken tender in there just to see if it's ready, and as you can tell, it is. So you gotta be real careful when you put your chicken in this. Highly recommend that you have parent present. You hear that, students? You should not be frying in hot oil without a parent with you helping you with this, because you can easily burn yourself. So I'm just going to lay my chicken tenders in my pan. And it should be sizzling, but not splashing. So you have to quickly adjust your heat while you're doing this. At no time should you be walking away from this either. Really got to keep an eye on it. Make sure you're using a heavy duty pan. This one's a cast iron pan, which again I highly recommend. So talk to your parents about this process right here. You don't have to fry first. This makes them crispy. However, you can just take these like we made them and just pop them in the oven for about 15 or 20 minutes and just keep an eye on them to see if when they're done, you can cut into them, or you can stick a meat thermometer in them, and it should be 160, 165 degrees so that you know that they're done. I have a cookie sheet right now in the oven, and my oven is heating to 400 degrees. So, cookie sheet in the oven, heating to 400 degrees. I'm going to cook them like this for a little bit. Then they're going on the cookie sheet and they're going in the oven to finish baking for about an additional 5 minutes. So that's the process. So we will check back with you in just a bit. Okay, so as we can see, it's starting to get brown on the side. I'm going to flip them over. Perfect. And of course, they're not all going to cook at the same, they're not going to cook brown at the same time because my pan isn't hot and I didn't put them all in at the same time. So, but that's okay. So give that other side a moment to cook as well. In the meantime, in my oven, I think I was telling you, my oven's getting to be 400 degrees and I had a cookie sheet sitting in there. So I'm going to put my cookie sheet on my stove top. It's right next door. Slide my camera so you can see. So as I take my chicken tenders out, so basically I'm just trying to get them crispy. Then I'm going to lay them on my cookie sheet, my heated cookie sheet. And I'm going to repeat this process. So getting them crispy, pre-cooked, and then they'll go in the oven for the rest of the time. Then I'm going to take this. You say bye, because they're going in the oven. And my oven is heated. Away. Come over here. You can see I have my oven, 400. And so the timer, I'm going to put it 5 minutes, but I definitely want to keep an eye on this. So at 5 minutes, I'm going to take my handy dandy little thermometer, which I'll show you. So see my little handy dandy thermometer? You should have one of these, little meat thermometer. And I know it's really, really tiny print, but actually it says poultry is 180 degrees. Ooh, that's high. 160, 165. All right, took my chicken out of the oven. It took a little bit more than 5 minutes. I checked the temperature and it wasn't quite 160. And now, as you can tell, it is. So 160, 165 is where you want to be. And then I also made some pasta in the meantime while my chicken was cooking, because it doesn't take that long. Got a couple pieces on there. I don't know how much you eat. And bam, homemade tomato sauce. Well, I guess I'll have to show you how to do that someday. Anyway, it's super yummy. So I'm pouring some of that on there and to get me some meatballs. So I made some meatballs and sauce another day. Oh, I know you're thinking this is going to be good. Well, you can't have mine, but you can make it yourself. So there we go, some meatballs, chicken, and then let's have a little bit more cheese. Get my cheese open because, well, let's be realistic. Never have too much cheese, at least not Parmesan cheese. There you go, chicken Parmesan, bon appetit.